Hello, and welcome to Chattin with the Peeps, coming to you live from the NYC, New York City, reminding you we are America's #1 program when it comes to chatting with the Peeps. I'm your host, Lay Gino, and tonight we've got quite the show for you. Stay tuned. Tonight we're talking about Erik Larson's best-selling book, Devil in the White City. Please give a warm welcome to best-selling author Erik Larson.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Mr. Larson, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I used to write for Wall Street journals, and now I have several international bestsellers.
That's great. You're a very interesting speaker. And here we're talking about your latest, Devil in the White City. Can you tell us a little bit about this book?
Yeah, sure. It's actually consists of 2 parts. The first one is about an architect named Daniel Burnham, who took on the impossible challenge to complete the most extravagant fair in world's history.
Darker, sinister side of this.
Yeah,
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Definitely. So, another part is about one of the first documented serial killer named H.H. Holmes, who seduces, marries, and murders young women during the fair and before the fair.
Creepy stuff.
Yeah.
So I've read this book, Mr. Larson. I think it's great. Anybody interested in history or anybody interested in a specific time, it's really interesting. I think you're the perfect audience. I would definitely recommend this book.
Definitely.
Can you tell us about this really interesting time period in Devil in the White City?
Yeah, sure. So it's around 1893 where Chicago's Columbus World Exposition took place. And by the way, it's a really good book, a really good complimentary for anyone who's taking AP US history.
And so why did you write this book? What would you say, your purpose writing the book?
Well, I just want to highlight Daniel Burnham's personal brilliance and Chicago's determination to take on the impossible challenge just for its glory. And on another side, I also want to expose an interesting but corrupted time period, especially about the Gilded Age and about Holmes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Larson. It was a pleasure having you on. It's a great book. Highly recommend it. Give it up for Erik Larson. We just talked with Erik Larson. Now, we're going to meet up with one of the architects behind the Chicago's World Fair. Follow me. Hello, Mr. Burnham.
Hello.
It's extremely nice to meet you.
You too.
So here we are at your masterpiece,
Yes.
The White City.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Well, obviously we have these columns here to support it.
Yeah.
As you can tell, it's a very white piece,
Oh, yes.
as you can tell by the name. And again, it's a neoclassical style piece.
Can you tell me why you painted it white?
Well, in all honesty, we're running out of time, so it was the best option to paint it white.
I have to say, it's one of the most endearing features of the fair.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So, Mr. Burnham, can you tell us about one of your most interesting features at the fair here?
Well, here we have the Ferris wheel. It was designed by the one and only George Ferris. This, quite frankly, is my favorite piece we have here at the fair. It is also the tallest piece we have here at the fair.
Wow, that's right. It's actually taller than the Eiffel Tower,
Yes,
isn't it?
Yes, indeed it is.
I can tell.
Oh, yeah.
So, Mr. Burnham, can you tell us about some of this wonderful architecture right here?
Why yes. Here we have these wonderful bushes. They were done by Olmsted, who is a landscaper.
Some describe him as a painter with landscaping. Is that accurate?
Oh, yes, very. As you can tell, I mean, just look at it.
It's beautiful. Well, that was interesting. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break.
Erik Larson's #1 national bestseller is The Devil in the White City. Larson conveys and informs the reader about an interesting and manic time in U.S. history, murder, magic, and madness at the fair that changed America.
It's a great read that describes excellently the difficulty architects working on the fair faced.
An even more interesting story involves a serial killer by the name of Holmes.
While some parts about architecture tend to be a little boring, it's an extremely good read, and you will leave educated about an interesting time. I'm glad you stuck through all of it. Available now wherever books are sold.
Live from New York City, welcome back to Chattin' with the Peeps. We met up with Emmeline Seagrand at her house to ask her about her experiences with Mr. Holmes. Take a look. Hello, Emmeline. It's nice to meet you.
Why, thank you, Lay, but the pleasure is all mine.
You're extremely beautiful. You remind me of someone I know.
Back at you, Lay.
So tell me about your experience with Mr. Holmes.
He's so handsome and extremely charming. I was so happy he chose to marry me.
Did you have any suspicions at all about him?
All. He was such a flatterer. None until it was too late.
That's extremely unfortunate. How did he kill your children?
Well, as for my daughter, slowly the energy left her, and her hands began to move in slow arcs, soothing and sensuous, the wild drums silent, ballet now, a pastoral exit.
That's a perfect description of Erik Larson's writing style. Short staccato sentences, with all the fat trimmed off, serve to create very poignant writing.
What?
Never mind. I'm sorry for your loss, but thank you for your time.
Thanks so much for watching Chattin' with the Peeps. I'm your host, Lay Jino. And before everybody leaves, I just want you to take a quick peek under your seat. Everybody's leaving here today with a copy of Erik Larson's Devil in the White City.
That's right. You get a book. And you get a book. And you get a book. You get a book, and you get a book, and everybody gets a book.